There's something that happens to empaths in quiet moments. In the middle of a crowded room, at a party where everyone is laughing, in a conversation that should feel easy, when a wave of something inexplicable washes over them. Not sadness exactly, not loneliness in the ordinary sense. Something older than that, a feeling like they've lived this before, like they arrived in this world already tired. People around them don't seem to feel it. Others move through life with an ease that empaths can't quite access. They enjoy the surface of things. They don't lie awake wondering why cruelty exists, or feeling the weight of strangers' grief, or sensing the invisible currents of tension in a room everyone else seems to find comfortable, and the empath stands there, feeling everything, wondering why no one else seems to notice. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called the transcendent function, the bridge between the conscious mind and the deeper layers of the psyche that most people never access. What he found was that certain individuals are born with a thinner membrane between themselves and the collective unconscious. They feel what others suppress. They sense what others have learned not to notice. They carry the emotional weight of rooms, of histories, of silences. Jung called this a gift. But he also knew it came with a price. The first thing to understand about empaths feeling like old souls is that it isn't metaphor. It's a psychological reality rooted in how the empathic nervous system processes experience. While most people absorb life at the surface level, the event, the conversation, the exchange, empaths absorb it at the level of meaning, pattern, and consequence. When an empath watches someone suffer, they don't just observe it, they metabolize it. Their body registers it as if it were happening to them. Their mind reaches immediately for why. What wound created this? What pattern sustains it? What pain underneath the pain is really speaking? This is exhausting in a way that's almost impossible to explain to people who don't experience it. Because you don't just live your own life. You live fragments of everyone else's simultaneously. You carry memories of conversations that weren't yours. You lie awake processing grief that belongs to other people. You feel the echo of things that haven't been said, the tension of things that are being carefully avoided, the sorrow in what someone calls fine. Jung observed that individuals with this degree of perceptual sensitivity often feel profoundly displaced in ordinary social life, not because something is wrong with them, but because they are operating at a frequency that most social interaction is not designed for. Small talk feels painful, not because empaths are elitist, but because they are incapable of experiencing it as small. Everything reverberates. This is why empaths have always felt ancient. It's not that they have literally lived before, though many come to that interpretation. It's that they are processing life at a depth that accumulates. Every emotion they witness adds sediment to something internal. Every grief they absorb leaves a layer. Every moment of genuine human contact deposits something that doesn't dissolve. While others move through experience and shed it, empaths retain it. They become a living archive of what has been felt in their presence. And archives are heavy. Archives make you feel old. Jung found that empaths who never understand this about themselves spend years believing they are broken. They think the heaviness means something is wrong with them. They seek the lightness they see in others and can't find it and conclude they are fundamentally, irreparably deficient. But the heaviness isn't deficiency. It's depth. And depth, Jung argued, is not a flaw to be corrected. It is a capacity to be understood and properly inhabited. The second reason empaths feel like old souls is more subtle. They have an almost involuntary relationship with truth. Not the truth of facts, but the truth underneath facts, the emotional reality beneath what people perform. Empaths sense it constantly. The gap between what someone says and what they mean, between what a relationship presents and what it actually is, between the story a family tells about itself and the story written in the silences around the dinner table. This attunement to hidden truth is disorienting in a world that runs largely on comfortable fictions. Most social systems depend on people agreeing not to name certain things. The empath sits at the table feeling what isn't being named, knowing they cannot speak it without shattering something, and choosing silence, again and again. That silence accumulates. It creates an interior life of extraordinary richness and an exterior life that can feel like permanent performance, like existing behind glass, present but never fully arrived. Jung identified this as one of the central wounds of the highly sensitive psyche. Not what was done to them, but the chronic exhaustion of living in translation, of constantly converting their inner experience into something legible to people who don't share it. But here is what Jung discovered that changes everything. The feeling of being an old soul trapped in this world is not a prison sentence. It is a developmental stage. The empath who feels displaced is an empath who has not yet found their people, their purpose, or their proper relationship to their own depth. They are still trying to fit into frameworks built for a different kind of consciousness, still apologizing for the intensity, still softening themselves to be more digestible, still interpreting their sensitivity as a problem to be managed rather than a signal to be followed. When empaths stop trying to be less intense, less feeling, less perceptive, less much, something shifts. The displacement doesn't disappear, but it transforms. It becomes direction instead of disorientation. Jung believed that the empath's sense of ancient tiredness was not evidence of damage. It was the weight of unlived purpose, the exhaustion of carrying a capacity without yet knowing what it is for. Because empaths don't feel everything for no reason. They feel everything because they are meant to understand things others cannot, hold what others drop, witness what others look away from. The sensitivity is not the wound. The sensitivity, properly understood and finally honored, is the whole point. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are not a malfunctioning version of the people around you who seem to find this world easy. You are someone who arrived here already knowing, at some cellular level, that life is not shallow, that people are not simple, that beneath every ordinary surface there is an ocean. Most people spend their lives not knowing that ocean exists. You have never had that luxury. You were born already swimming, and yes, it is exhausting. And yes, it can feel like a curse. And yes, there are days when the weight of feeling everything makes you wish you could simply not. But Jung would tell you this. The capacity to feel what others cannot is not something that happened to you. It is something that lives in you. And the moment you stop fighting it, stop trying to drain the ocean to be more comfortable on dry land, is the moment this world stops feeling like a place you are trapped in, and starts feeling like the place you finally came to do what only you could do. You're not an old soul trapped here. You're an old soul who arrived exactly on time.